Every visitor to Liberia, the first person you meet is an immigration officer. And when you are leaving also, an immigration officer sees you on your departure. So this collaboration is very important to us. It is true over the years, a lot of tourists and other potential investors coming to Liberia have found it very difficult to obtain visa on arrival for our diplomatic mission to travel to Liberia. These are the reasons why we are collaborating with the Ministry of Information. And on this agenda of the arrest agenda, we have worked so hard to modernize and modify our visa processes. We are now transitioning from a paper-based visa on arrival to a sticker, which is universally accepted. So on Monday, after the weekend, His Excellency the President will be launching this project at the Liberia Immigration Service Office. It's going to be online. It will be very much easier for people to obtain visa to travel to Liberia. So, Honorable Minister, as I return to office, your invitation will be coming. Sorry for the late invitation. It is because we have been working tirelessly to put everything together. So we want to say thank you for inviting us to this great occasion. Thank you.
Also prepare the regular immigration service alliance.
Good afternoon. Let me expand on the existing protocols. A few meetings ago, when I say we, I mean Liberia Maritime, we have fixed our signature to the MOU. And I told you part of our responsibility as per the MOU was to help train lifeguards. But what I didn't tell you is that we are also responsible for the craft down the waters. We are responsible in the sense that those who drive in the craft, they have to be qualified. And those of the tourists, they want to go out and do some pleasure fishing. One thing I didn't see the National Coast Guard on that MOU. Because if something should happen with tourists out there, we'll do search and rescue, we'll need a Coast Guard system. So we need Coast Guard to be trying to MOU help to organize the search and rescue. That's what I didn't see. But the MOU is a work in progress. So we from Maritime work closely with the National Coast Guard, we work with our search and rescue center at the Coast Guard base. So since we regulate the waters, the inland and territorial waters, we have to train the people at sea going in to help the tourists just in case there's a disaster and there's something may happen, unfortunately, and we have to get it. So we have to use the Coast Guard to be part of this tourism sector. I hope the Minister and Mr. Norris can look into it and then contact the Ministry of Defense to help get the Coast Guard involved. So on behalf of the Liberian Maritime Authority, we are so pleased to affix our signature to this document, and we're looking forward to working with the technical team and those who are going to implement the MOU. So I say thank you once again, and we look forward to working with everybody. Thank you, Mr. Minister.
Good afternoon, everyone. So as you know, I'm not the mayor. I am the chief of staff to the mayor. So the mayor sends his greetings. He's out on official travel. So I wanted to say regards from the mayor. I'm Charlene Carey. I'm the chief of staff. And on behalf of the mayor and on behalf of the River City Corporation, we signed this MOU basically because we are the capital city in Liberia. As the capital city, the largest city, and of course with all the historic sites in Liberia, mostly historic sites in Liberia, we want this MOU to actually work along with the ministry and the minister who have worked assiduously with the mayor in order for us to start this MOU and for us to work together as a unit. So as I said earlier, this was a great opportunity and perfect timing for us because we are preparing for Monrovia Day. Monrovia Day is celebrated every year on January 16th. This year we have a 5-day program scheduled. So on the first day we have the opening ceremony. The opening ceremony will start with a festival and in March a parade and then also a historical conversation. The historical conversation will be on the establishment of Monrovia. We have 5 historians that will be speaking to us that day. I think you all know some of the historians, Dr. Barros, Dr. Brewer, Dr. Allen, and then 2 young PhD holders who will be on the conversation as well. So that's our first day. There's 5 days. I won't run you through the exact activities for all 5 days. However, I'll give you some feedback from all the days. So day 2, we have a roundtable. That roundtable will be an opportunity for us to talk about Monrovia and the development of Monrovia. So there's 3 thematic areas that we'll be talking about on the roundtable. We have the environment, communities, and good governance. Obviously, with those 3 thematic areas is where we're going to develop Monrovia and grow it from where we currently are. On the 3rd day, we have an intercessory prayer at the mosque that will be on Friday, and then and a tour as well. So we're having a tour of Monrovia. So that's where the Ministry of Information comes in. Again, I spoke of the historical sites in Monrovia. So the historical sites are usually under the ministry. So that's where we're engaged in the Ministry of Information on. So day 4 is where we have Environmental Day. The Environmental Day is where obviously in the City Corporation, the environment is very important to us. It is key on our agenda is cleaning and keeping the environment clean for us. So Environmental Day is where we're going to do a symbolic tree planting, and hopefully we'll have some key persons there that day. And then also there has to be some entertainment that's involved in any type of celebration. So we'll have a sports day where we'll have football, kickball, basketball, and so forth. We're going to have the Petersville City Corporation along with Monrovia City Corporation and the townships will also be involved in the activities that day. And then Friday, which is the closing program, it's actually Monrovia Day, which is the 16th. So that day is when we will have the State of the City address. So the mayor will address the city to tell us what we met, where we are, and where we're going. So that would be the opening of the program. Obviously, before we do the State of the City, we'll do intercessory prayer because that is Sunday. So we'll do that at the church. So after that, the mayor will give the conversation on the State of the City. So the State of the City is a major event because that's when you get to know what we have been doing at Monrovia City Corporation and what our plans are for the development of the city. So after that, we will have a dinner and awards program, which will all be held at Monrovia City Hall. Okay, so I just wanted to give you all that feedback as far as where we are in the plans for Monrovia Day, and your participation, obviously, for the state will be invited to participate as well. So Minister, thank you on behalf of the mayor, and thank you on behalf of Monrovia City Corporation for the MOU. As I said earlier, if you want to go somewhere fast, you go alone, and if you want to go somewhere far, you go together. So with the collaboration with the ministry, obviously we have a vision for further tourism within the city. So thank you all very much.
City Corporation representative this morning to some MOU with the Ministry of Information to complete events tourism more sites in our area. So next round we will have another entity coming to address.
So, a way of introduction, I'm Assistant Minister of Tourism, Antonio Bacchinarius Jr., and a lot has been said. We want to thank the Minister for the opportunity. We have a President who is very excited about tourism, and he announced all of the good things happening at the airport. So, in short, today's program set the tone for a lot of work to be done. For hotels, restaurants, and others, instead of having multiple agencies visit you, now we're going to do joint inspection. So fire service will be checking for stuff related to fire. Disaster management wants to know whether if there's a stampede, we have enough exits so that people don't get stomped on each other, or whether where you're sitting to have fun is safe. You know, and we can prevent disasters from occurring. Also, the maritime, there are a lot of people who died, fortunately, in pools, along beaches. Liberia go out to have fun. And because most of these waterways are not properly guided, they don't have professional lifeguards. Many mothers lose their children, you know, and adults people lose loved ones. At tourism, that's a part of our job, is to make sure we collaborate with relevant authorities to make sure that you're safe when you go out to have fun and you can bring your family back without entertainment becoming a cause for grief. Also, so they'll be training the lifeguards, certificating them, and making sure that the pools you're swimming in are the right size. And our beaches have the proper monitoring. If people are not supposed to swim, they're not supposed to swim there. They will need to have Coast Guard monitor crowded beaches to make sure people don't wade deep into the ocean where they'll be at risk. We're going to have to do all of these things, and we're collaborating with the city mayor's office to make sure we beautify our city and turn Monrovia into a tourism city which is rich with culture. You heard us say a lot. We're not going to go in there. We know that there are plans to clean the Monserrate River, and Liberians are excited. They want to see everything happening now, but there are processes. So hopefully by next year, we'll be able to tell you exactly how many tourists enter Liberia, where did they go, how much did they spend, how many hotels are in the country, which rooms are available, what it costs. We have all of this information through lists and others. Currently, we have the tourism feedback platform where our tourists are able to give us feedback on how their experience was in Liberia. We recently last year, opened the Tourism Information Center at the airport, which is currently operational. And through the Minister's office and my own boss, the Deputy Minister for Culture and Tourism, we're looking at to improve on our service so that it doesn't just become an information center, but it provides a service. If you're coming from out of the country or expecting a loved one and you're late to the airport, can you call someone there to just, intercept your visitor, give them a place to sit, maybe help them get a cab? The Tourism Information Center is there to assist you. So at time post, while we can't say it all here now, we'll provide more and more information on what is happening in the tourism sector and what the President intends to see as outlined in the arrest agenda. So again, as a minister and all those who've come to from the tourism division, we say thank you for being here.
Thank you. The tourism sector is a major component of the arrest agenda for inclusive development. And all of the steps that were just outlined here are geared toward making the sector very viable and attractive. So by next year, we want to be able to lay in on real-time data in the tourism industry. A lot has been said. Let me just make the following remarks on behalf of the Ministry of Information. So Minister and Deputy Ministers, members of the senior management team of the Ministry of Information, would like to welcome you to this edition of the MICAT regular press briefing. So the President is back into the country after attending a successful summit, the summit on Africa's energy in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. A key outcome of the summit where our President, His Excellency President MICAT, and other African leaders were able to pledge their support for increased electricity access for over 3 million people in Africa by 2030. At the summit, President MICAT signed Liberia's energy compact with the World Bank. And the compact amounts to 1.3 billion will be used for energy infrastructure, including 800 million for the Simcoe Hydro project. This project is intended to boost electricity access to 100,000 households annually, targeting 75% annual electricity coverage by 2030, up from the current 32.7%. When the President gave his speech on Tuesday, he outlined that moving forward, his government will endeavor to increase access to electricity. And from 2025 up to 2030, the government will endeavor to connect at least 100,000 households annually. As a country, we do not have the resources to do so. It's an ambitious dream. And so the President made representation on behalf of the country in Tanzania, and 1.3 billion has been secured for Liberia Energy Compact. The President, of course, was accompanied by a high-level delegation to emphasize the importance of reliable electricity for Liberia development, stating that the Energy Compact is a game changer for improving living standards in Liberia. President MICAT also expressed his government's commitment to collaborating with international partners to ensure the effective implementation of the project. Liberia's bid for the non-permanent seat at the Security Council of the UN is on course. And the last time we had the Deputy Minister for International Cooperation at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He spoke on behalf of the ministry. He reminded us that Liberia's bid was on an irreversible path, and that the government was working with other countries on the international scene to ensure that they can give Liberia that endorsement it needs to get a vote for that seat. And so, in furtherance of that, the President has announced the steering committee that is charged with the responsibility of leading Liberia's campaign for a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. The committee, of course, will be chaired by Foreign Minister and Dean of the President's Cabinet, Madam Sarah Beslo-Yanti. They are various government officials, including the team, civil society leaders, and members of the diplomatic community as advisors. So the steering committee is co-chaired by the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning and the Ministry of Internal Affairs, serving as co-chair of the committee. And the other members of the committee include Minister of Defense, Minister of Justice, Minister of State, Director General of the Cabinet, National Security Advisor to the President, Minister of Gender, Minister of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, Minister of Youth and Sports, House Committee on Foreign Relations, Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, National Civil Society Council of Liberia, Liberia Council of Churches, National Muslim Council, the Federation of Liberian Youth, the Liberian National Student Union, the Manoroa Union Youth Parliament, the Liberia Chamber of Commerce, and the Young Men Council Christian Association. Also, Ambassador Louis Brown, will serve as secretary of the steering committee overseeing campaign strategy. An advisory team comprising of multiple ambassadors and lawmakers has also been appointed by the president to provide guidance and leverage diplomatic expertise. And that committee includes Ambassador George Wallace, the President's Advisor on Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Majon Kamara, former Foreign Affairs Minister, Honorable Bangi King Akiwili, former Foreign Affairs Minister, Senator Bazaga Finley, Senator of Grand Bassa County, Senator Thomas Jaya Newman, Senator of Grand Julia County, Honorable Moni Ara Kapton, former Foreign Minister, Ambassador Toga McIntosh, and Ambassador Antonio Barnes. The Liberia's bid for the non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council emphasizes Liberia's dedication to global peace and security and reflects the country's desire to enhance its role in international decision making. The government encourages support from all stakeholders to advocate for peace, development, and security around the world. The President has appointed a group of Liberians as ambassador at large to the Policy Advisory Council of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The appointment underscores the President's commitment to enhancing Liberia's diplomatic efforts in advancing the country's foreign policy goals. Those appointed are Honorable B. Ilashorin, Chair, Ambassador Blamo Nelson, Member, Ambassador Elsa Davis, Member, Honorable Chris Moore, Member, Honorable Robert Lomian, Member. Additionally, Honorable Sheikh Mustafa Kiate has been designated as Ambassador at Large for special duties to assist in strategic diplomatic initiatives. These appointments aim to strengthen Liberia's global presence and will leverage the members' expertise in diplomacy and international relations to promote Liberia's interests and foster international partnership. We are still talking about the President's Sona, and when the President spoke to the country on last Tuesday, he outlined numerous issues. The President concluded his speech outlining certain basic things that he wants to do this year. And that includes fostering national unity, making proposals to review the Constitution, electoral reform, and to honor two of our former presidents who were brutally murdered. He also talked about how Liberia should recognize ECOWAS for the sacrifices that regional body made in restoring Liberia back to constitutional democracy. These are well-intentioned actions by the President, and as it is expected when the President speaks, opposition will always come to say they want to criticize the President's address. And so, the day before yesterday, the CDC provided a critique to the President's address, which basically does not highlight the good intention of the President's message, but only seek to serve the purpose of the usual opposition criticism. As a government, we want a society where there can be a competition of ideas. When the President presents his annual message, criticism that will follow should be based on the components president's message. For example, the president gave an address last year. The address the president gave last year outlined certain things that his government would have accomplished by this time. If we do a comparison between what the president gave last year, the speech the president gave last year, and the one he delivered this year, the 2025 SONA is in fulfillment of what was delivered in 2024 to the legislature. For example, the president submitted a couple of instruments to the legislature. Some of the instruments were acted upon by the House of Representatives. For example, the bill seeking to create a national tourism authority was part of the president's legislative agenda to the legislature last year. That bill was at the Senate, having been passed by the lower house. They didn't take action. But when the president addressed the legislature on Tuesday, what did we see? The Senate passed the bill on the following day. That tells you that the president is following up on his legislative agenda. So, some of the things the president said yesterday was that the government has not undone harmonization. We criticized harmonization and said that harmonization was imposing hardship on the people. And our record is clear. We criticize harmonization because it drastically reduced the already low salary of the civil servants. It was a bad strategy. That they will still be in opposition. You were ready to get into opposition because of harmonization, and you stay in opposition defending harmonization. Why the government is seeking to increase the salary of civil servants, you are still defending harmonization. That tells you that you haven't even recognized why you lose the election. Because harmonization was one of the main reasons why you were defeated. And so, you cannot tell us how to run the government. It is our duty to ensure that the livelihood of those who work for the government is protected. The Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, along with the Civil Service Agency, have started to address that. The 28,000 civil servants that will be affected as of January, moving on with the salary top-ups in various categories, is a good thing. So your record is clear. You are reducing salary, we are increasing salary, and we'll do it incrementally. We will do it incrementally. Because as a government, what you should seek to do in any given situation is to improve the livelihood of the people, make the country better. Another thing they say in the criticism was that the country is divided. There are chaos all over the place. And Liberians who are listening and know what this country was under the CDC-led government, when people could barely stay in the streets after 6 o'clock, when the leader and president of the country would call a press conference and say, those who criticize the government are enemies of the state. When they were weaponizing against the mass media, they got the country divided. For 6 years, President Weah spoke to the legislature. He didn't use one of the occasions to even call for national unity. President Waka, in his address, I think the 10th paragraph in that speech called for national unity, inviting everybody on the board to work together. Because the country is our country. So the president has extended an olive branch to you. But because you want to play politics, you say you're not attending the president's program. Even though the program is a function of the legislature, you say you're not attending the program. But you have strength to respond to what the president said. People are very confused. Read the president's address and hold the president accountable to the things he says. The president has done other branch, whether you're from the CDC, whether you're from the ANC, from LPP, the country is all God. And he didn't stop there. He went on to conclude by saying that he will make a proposal to the legislature on fostering national unity. That is reconciliatory. That is reconciliatory. Talking about giving two former presidents who were brutally murdered, giving them the befitting burial. Doesn't that foster national unity? When the president extends an olive branch to people in the opposition that you should come on board and work together, what else do you want the president to do? And you say the country is divided. Look at the country today, as it is currently constituted. Opposition, no opposition, imposition, we all work together. Use the Ministry of Union, for example. Not a single person has been dismissed here because they support CDC or they don't support the government. So the way we want to do it is different. We want to unify the country by our action. So it's all politics. You left us with a divided country. Extremely divided country. Today, we don't just have the headache of fixing the roads and bringing electricity and making sure that civil service salaries are increased. We also have the problem of reconciliation hovering over our head as a country. Why? Because it took 6 years to divide this country. And those who didn't support you, they were purged out of the government. Even in private sector, some of those who were chased after, they couldn't find jobs to get a daily bread because they didn't support the government. Even people in the media, you weaponize against them because they didn't share your view. That, to a greater extent, is responsible for the division we have today, which the president wants to address. The sanctions senator also talked about, because I don't know why the CDC would choose to use somebody who is a sanctioned official to respond to the president's annual message. When you are sanctioned, there is something fundamentally wrong with your character. The greatest nation on earth has sanctioned this man for what? For corruption, for gross human rights violations, all the negative things that happen in this country on George here. McGee was the rank leader. Now he's senator of McGee County. You the rank leader. You funded the Porcupine Brigade. You put the ex-general into combat unit. You were supporting them. And they went after people who were perceived to be regime critics. In the process, auditors died mysteriously. So the burden of all of those crimes are hovering over your head. And to make everything worse, you were sanctioned by the greatest country on earth, the United States. For what? For corruption. Gross human rights violation. And you say you are a major opposition party and you choose to use such a voice to deliver your critique to the president and a message. I'm not going to take you seriously. Because Senator McGee has to firstly answer to the international community, to the Liberian people, for all the wrong things he did for which he was sanctioned by the US government. So the sanction official, I don't know who gave me the data, he said they are better managing the economy than the current administration. The president's data in his speech was inaccurate. We live in an age of digital advancement. It becomes difficult for you to distort the facts. The economy that the CDC inherited in 2018 was far better, was far stable than the economy that President Bola inherited. How do you know that? Just look at the inflation. For those who don't know what it means to say, if you have $100 in your pocket during the era of the CDC, that $100 was deep value. As compared to now where inflation has been reduced to a single digit by the government. And these things are not happening by guesswork. They are happening as a result of stringent fiscal management policy that have been instituted by the government to get the economy from where they put it. And when they decided to use money from the National Reserve to go and do mop-up exercise, everything, piled up. Plus the economy in a mess. Look at the executive mansion, for example. Payroll Padley. He was Minister of State. Ran a power payroll for which he's been indicted by the LCC. And the other day, the LCC invited him, his party tried to block the way. But the LCC will not be deterred. Because this government will give that institution the fullest of support it needs to do work. We support the LCC because the fight against corruption should be taken seriously. Went to the Ministry of State, you ran a parallel payroll or how you call it, and you recruited everybody from everywhere. No accountability. No accountability. You use government money the way you did it. The audit report is off. You've been indicted by the LCC. Today, what we have done, and I hear you also question that there were no ghosts on the payroll. Yeah. The CSA did a very professional job, and the records are there for any independent firm to challenge it. If the CSA had dismissed 6, 7, 10,000 people as Senator McGill would have the public to believe, the country will be experiencing widespread protests. Because it's a small country. So where are the 6,000 persons that were dismissed from a job that you're talking about? Where are they? When they were leaving, they flooded the payroll with all of these people who are not employed. They don't work with government entities, but they sit home at the end when they take pay. And as a government, your payroll should reflect value for money. It is absolutely unacceptable for anybody to be home, not working for government and taking pay. And so the CIA did their job. And we remain very unapologetic about that. So the payroll now reflects value for money. Beyond that, the CSA has ensured that credential audits is going on across government entities. The CSA should be the professional arm of the government. What they did to the CSA, the civil service, was to bastardize it, turned it into a recruitment ground for incompetent partisans. In the end, what happened? Government payroll got blocked in. People could not account for the money they were getting. So yes, the CSA has done a good job. Remove all the both names. If you want to challenge it, bring the people who you say were wrong for the remove. Show me those who were wrong for the remove for the payroll. But to call a press conference and got into lies under the guise of responding to the president's annual message is unacceptable. This sanctioned official, he should be remorseful for the terrible things that happen to this country. There are people who died. There are family members that are mourning their loved ones because of the death squad that now Senator McGill ran at the Ministry of State. That death squad is responsible for the mysterious death of the auditors and other people who die in the country mysteriously. The country is trying to heal. We are focusing on the developmental agenda of the government. This country needs to be elevated across this country. The Renaissance is approaching. The problems our people in the heat of their face. The government is trying to address it. We're not saying that everything is rosy. The government didn't come to power to address all the problems in the country that in 1 year. No. But when meaningful and well-intentioned actions are taken to address the country's problem, people should not try to make it look political. Call your former president bio-medicine. Less than 6 months after he left the presidency, what happened to all the roads in Morocco? Today, we have to redeploy taxpayer money to have the road repaired. We know what they did. The RI road. You put millions of dollars there in front of the money. In the end, that road was moving at a snail pace. Snail pace. Creating terrible security risks for the country. Today, the road, the construction project is being accelerated at unprecedented speed. Why? The same company is there, but why the road moving? Because nobody taking kickback. Nobody's taking kickback. Some people should not take advantage of the situation in the country and play politics. You have a government that is committed to working in the interest of the Liberian people. So that critique of the president and our message is out of order. It's out of order. The president outlined good things in his message for Liberians. It's there in the concluding paragraph. Let us reconcile the country. Let us unite to move the country forward. You are a senator. You have a duty in the leadership of the country. And when the legislature convenes a national convocation, you abscond and say you go in, you boycotting, and what have you. You come back to say you want to respond to the same message. So the country development agenda is on an irreversible path, and we will continue as a government. We will continue to create a fertile ground for everybody to speak out. We'll create a fertile ground for the media that the president outlined his annual message. The government has created a space for the mass media to thread. 41 new media entities in the last 1 year. They applied, no hurdles, no bottleneck, lessons approved and issued by the Ministry of Information. If we were a government that want to censor the views of citizens, we want to crack down on freedom of expression of the media, of the press, we don't be lessening new media entities every day. Because the way to move your country forward is not to be repressive. We're an environment where everybody can feel part of the process. So yes, the Dar es Salaam Summit was a very good initiative. The outcome, the result, very good for our country. 1.3 billion to expand the energy network for our country. I think, like the president always said, you can't grow this economy without energy. And with this new initiative, we can only continue to hope for the best for our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister.
Mr. Sano was the speaker of the University and also rushed for the meeting of the steering committee that he announced. But I just thought to say this briefly before I leave. If you were a political party in power, you lost power because of your conduct, the most strategic thing to do is to rebrand. And the way to rebrand is not to use some of the bad elements who led you into trouble in the first place. If you are still using people who value their bodies more than the living, when people who are living are in zinc shacks, leaking, and there people can sleep in mansions, another human being who should open their mouth to say anything. If you are a person who was linked to every killing in this country, it's another thing to start with, but we all were in the space, including people who were in your midst that are less than 20 hours. Challenge the character of some of the people and say they were behind every death that took place in this country. If those are the faces you're using as a political institution, seeking state power, something that will be wrong. If you're using an individual who goes out and say, we've been accused of stealing. Yes, we're stealing. But at least we're not carrying the money outside, we're using it right here. If those are the people who are the voices in your party to be responding to State of the Union address, then something is wrong with it. If the face of your party that must be responding to a State of the Union address is somebody who is still under sanction, as Mr. Santos said, for human rights abuse, including some of the alleged killings we're talking about, for stealing, and that sanction was linked directly to what you see happening at RIA Highway, which was abandoned, 122 million spent for 8 kilometers. If those are the faces and voices representing you, something got to be wrong with you. So if by the way, some of these individuals ran as independent candidates, how can they then be voices speaking on behalf of a political institution? That party not get leadership. And I see somebody called as a chairman sitting down there clapping when. So a terrible character is making representation on your behalf. Maybe your teacher more than politics. And you think that I bring people have forgotten. Two families, two important families. The Tower family, and the Topman family. Their sons were butchered right in this capital. Son of William Tower, the Reverend. Son of William B.S. Tower. Murdered here, as high profile as they were not seen in their regime. Families of battalions who are adult people, and all these people are still with you. They have not even forgotten you. And you come shouting, reminding them about the nightmares they are experiencing. Because for you think that people are so, they can't think for themselves. Your shouting and loud mouth is something that will make them gather attention back to you for political power. You ought to be joking. See the very contradiction here. So you didn't have interest in the message. So you walk away. And how did you follow to even be able to respond? Or it's a part of the hypocrisy to say, I'm getting up for this, but you sit down to your audience in the radio. Soften yourself up. Some of y'all feel the power that whole church all right, as our old people used to say. Right here in Singapore, right after Morris Hotel. You build your property there that will cost 16 million. How can a man who kill the power still be in Zinsha? You build a property that will cost 16 million. But all these people they exploited that they call the masses are still in rotten Zinshaps. And you think political power is an inheritance. It is your entitlement. To the extent that even if the Liberian people have problem with workers, which they should not, based on at least the record, then are you the choice? So, you know, you cook yourself in old cup, as our people say, you teach you how to bruise it. If the former ruling party is an institution that will bring the kind of faces we see, with the records they have, with the history they made, to be the voices representing them, I can just urge Liberia to open your eyes and make determination for yourself as to whether you ever want to go back to Egypt, or you continue your journey to the promised land. Mr. Sandro will answer your question. I'm rushing for the steering committee meeting, but I just wanted to say those words because sometimes you look and just think and say, what's going on? Sometimes you ask yourself those questions. People got something I thought I said, some people get traffic. That's not the traffic. If I was in leadership here and my name were in all the battles, and I was sanctioned by the greatest country on earth, I should be working to remake myself rather than running my mouth uselessly. The memories are still fresh in the minds of many of the people who are the victims. Yes, sure.
Thank you. Members of the press, please come in the queue. Mr. Chen, you ask the question.
Hello to everyone. This is Focus on Liberia live broadcast at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. Regular press briefing today, hosting the Ministry of Information. Now is questions and answer time.
And recently we saw a delegation from US or the NCC contact our people come to negotiate on Liberia's preparedness and establishing a compact office. I want to know where does Liberia stand as it relates to the NCC compact in the midst of President Trump's executive order? And follow-up to that is how does the government intend to source additional funds to implement some of those projects that will be using sponsors that are about to be sustained? Thank you.
So good afternoon. My name is Mark Nesgani and I'm good for Bushel Radio.
Excuse me, I think you have a second question. Say hello.
It was a follow-up. I was asking, how does the government intend to source alternative mechanisms to fund some of those projects that have been sponsored by USAID?
My name is Mark Nesgani from Bushel Radio. So my question is this: under whose administration is the process of Liberia bidding for the non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council started? Secondly, you talk about unity. I said, under whose administration the process of Liberia bidding for the non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council started? Lastly, you talk about unity in the country. The president Sona, what is the relationship between President Bouaka and former President Weah? Thank you.
Thank you. My name is James Sando and I report for Liberty. Alright, my name is James Sando and I report for Liberty Radio and Nima Online TV. My concern is on the President Sona. It did not sign in on the issue of asset recovery. I did not hear anything of such on asset recovery. What say you on that? Secondly, the MOU signed recently in regards to the tourism. What are those specific tourist sites that government is targeting to develop? Thank you very much.
Thank you. These are the questions, Minister.
Focus on Liberia is
Please, I'll be quiet.
Okay, thank you very much, members of the Fourth Estate. Your question has to do with tourism on which specific sites the government is trying to develop. So, quite recently, I think it was in December, maybe some of you guys did not follow this trend, but we did have a Turkish delegation that came in here. Their interest was to develop and resuscitate Duco Hotel, and they are also going to resuscitate Hotel Africa, and they are also going to build a new airport. We all know the airport that we have, that we're managing at this point. You know, we will have to, if we want to package and make sure Liberia is within the community of nations when it comes to development, our airport is supposed to be the first phase Like when you go and visit somebody, when you get to the door, you see the person door alone, sometimes you be like, okay, my man, I don't want to enter, but let's talk outside here. So that airport, that's how it's looking like. So we're gonna get airport, and in the midst of all that, they also committed to help us build the culture center, because as we all know, we don't have Kennedy, but we do have land where, so there's a lot going on. Last week, the Ministry of Tourism also had partners from AU, NEPAD, that is the developmental arm, the non-profit arm of the African Union. And this was the first time for them to come to Liberia. And they came on a scouting mission. They're gonna be here to help us develop tourism sites, tourism programs. This tourism, you know, they have the slangs that tourism business is everyone's business. Even you as the media, tourism is your business as well. Because tourism have the potential of transforming Liberia rapidly. This sector is the only sector that can transform Liberia in probably 2 or 3 years. No other sector have the ability to do that. And I'm serving as the deputy minister. I was very, very impressed with the attention given by the president.